This again. You guys got to give me a second. I'm going to give you a second to get on here because I got to do something. I've never done that before where I've got up, but I'm going to do my clubhouse as well. I'm meant to have everything ready. No one's on yet, so that's okay. That is okay. As everybody is getting on, I will wait. I didn't do any announcements and I didn't talk about or promote what I was going to talk about simply because I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what needed to be discussed. And so, yeah. So I didn't put anything on here. So as you come on, hey, I don't know who that is. They're saying, hey, Chica, how are you? This is my first time even doing LinkedIn at the same time. So I got a few things going on. LinkedIn approved me to do live broadcasts. For those of you who are joining in from LinkedIn, this is Healing Tuesdays. We actually have been I started this 2 years ago or so on Facebook. And Healing Tuesdays is all centered around those things that are dealing with fatherlessness, father wound, parental alienation, absent fatherhood, single moms. Hey, Ingrid, it doesn't show your face. It just says LinkedIn user. So this is my first time using LinkedIn. So hi, Ingrid. How are you, my love? So yeah, it didn't give me that. That's odd. But yeah, so it didn't give me any of that. And I'm going to do what I normally do here. Now this is odd that we got people who are jumping on slowly but surely. And I'm going to, I wasn't prepared tonight. I'm not gonna lie to you. Today was not the easiest day. How many of you are having some emotional challenges, some things that are coming after you, some things that are hitting you in all the wrong places? I was actually, you want me to tell you the truth? I was actually calling it an early night because I have to get up and do homework. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to call it a night. You know how you have those days. And I won't lie to you. Today was a thought-provoking day. Today was a day of inner healing for myself. My coaches, I have some new coaches in my life, and my coaches were like, hey, this is the work you have to do today. And so in doing this work, hi, Dwayne. Today is a blessed day. So thank you. Yeah, I had to do some inner healing work based on the work that my coaches have me doing. When it comes to entrepreneurship and being a business owner and just in general, we forget that we got to, self-care is not just going to the spa and getting a massage. And no, self-care is doing the inner healing work so that you can press through and all of the self-doubt that you have and all of these things that you have on the inside of you that's stopping you from moving forward and obtaining the life and accessing the next level. That's self-care. Really dealing with that is some things that I had to work on today. And it made the day emotional. It made the day a little harder than normal. But how many of you know that's okay? That is odd. I heard Instagram is doing some new stuff. And I can't even go live on Instagram for some reason, you guys. Is that something? Okay, no, I see it on my personal page. My business page, it's not there though. That's kind of weird. So let's see. Yeah, it's giving me a whole nother look. And because of that, I will not try to figure it out. I'm just going to go to my personal page and just do it from there and then download it and use it for later. Can't make stuff too complicated, y'all. Sometimes stuff is made too hard for no reason. So I want to know, because those of you who've come on and been on, you know how this works. So tell me how your week was. I normally do series for those who are coming on from LinkedIn. We finished a series last week. You can go to YouTube and find it. I did a series on the pains of co-parenting. We dealt with it from the fact that people miss their children. And so it's painful to walk through that journey. We also talked about it basically make you relive the breakup. And so in reliving the breakup, there's pain associated with that. Oh, I found it. Okay. So we went through that. And then last week we dealt with childhood trauma, how childhood trauma is being triggered by your co-parenting experience. It's a pretty good one. I enjoyed that one. Um, isn't that funny? I enjoyed that one. I'm not even a co-parent. But that's what we do here on Healing Tuesdays. Healing Tuesdays is all about working through your stuff, talking about situations and circumstances centered around fatherlessness. I am Dr. Tori J. I'm the founder and CEO of the Fatherless Generation Foundation. I am a fatherless reunification expert. I'm a healer. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. And I am learning to work on me so that I can be the best me for my clients, for my business, for my home, for my relationships that I can possibly be, but also letting go of those that do not serve me. How about that? And tonight I wanted to see what you guys wanted to talk about. All right. I look forward to talking to you, Ingrid. I wanted to see what you guys wanted to talk about. You know, it's funny how after every series that I do, I don't always have the next thing. And I told you guys before, like, tell me what it is you want to discuss. I will start the conversation by saying death is all around us right now. Hey, how are you, Dayani? Death is all around us. And with death being all around us, I want to know how you guys are dealing with that. I talked to a father tonight. We've been working on his reunification process. He cannot access his daughter until at least January of 2022. And so we've been working on what that's going to look like when that time happens. And he's living in a state of grief that is just, whew. Grieving someone who's still alive is one of the most painful experiences that anyone will live through. Many fathers are absent, but they're grieving the children that they don't have access to. Fatherless children have fathers who are absent, who they cannot see, and they don't know if you're fighting for them or not. They don't know the answer to that. Okay. They have no clue. So dads who are like, but I want to be there. Your children don't know that because they've been given a different narrative. And then just watching individuals. Cherie said, I set my alarm. Ain't no healing without me today. I love it, Cherie. I almost didn't get on here. I was struggling. But I want to, yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. But you know, this grief while someone is alive is very real within the fatherless community. Children are grieving these fathers who they want to see, they want to know, they want to touch, they want to have relationship with. And even when there's anger associated with it, you can't tell me you don't want to know who your father is. You can't tell me you don't want to know the other part of you. You get angry. Oh, he did this to my mama. Well, you only know that from your mother's perspective. And unfortunately, we have learned that too often that narrative is skewed through the hurt, pain, and even the brokenness of the parent who's stayed and who's present. We also realize that it's skewed through their own brokenness from their childhood. I was in a room full of women the other day. I have a friend who's had 2 deaths here in South Florida over like the last week, 2 weeks. And she said, ma'am, we need you. And I know that. So that's why I'm here. I'm telling you, I got dressed quick to get on here. She had several deaths, like finding her sister. Sister was gone. Like, sister was 38 years old, you guys. 38 years old. And being in her home and grieving and watching that whole thing play out was like, whew. And then how many of y'all know during funerals and someone dying, there's always some idiots who show up? What is that? Like, death attracts crazy people. And so there was other things going on the side that was just making the room really heavy. And then the young lady, she has a 4-year-old son whose father has not been very present. And to hear the conversation of women based on this man not being present for 4 years of the little boy's life. And now the mother is gone. But it was like, nah, he don't deserve a chance. I'm giving you the tone. Nah, he don't get an opportunity. Nah, he don't. And I'm like, We don't get to pick if this child has a father or not. That's all he has left. But this is what I have to tell to you dads. Hear me. This young woman, 38 years old, has passed on. Y'all know the father, he only is on child support and he has no custody rights. So now he's about to enter a battle with her family for his child. That's why you have to do the work of going to court and stop avoiding court so that in times of death and grief, you're not going through another process of death and grief. This man is going to have to fight for this kid, I promise you. He got to spend money and he may give up. Who knows? But I have to go, men, you gotta go do, you got these kids out of wedlock. I'm gonna tell you right now, children out of wedlock, you have no rights. You have no legal rights, no parental rights, no rights to your children. Hi, Thomas, how are you? You have no rights to your children. And in having no rights, you've got to go do the work and take the steps to gain access to them. I know that's more of a legal topic and I'm not an attorney, but with the work that I do, I see it all the time. And so I'm going to give you that information on Healing Tuesday, because that's going to keep you from a whole lot of grief and a whole lot of stress, stuff pressing upon your mental illness, your mental wellness. I'm sorry, pressing against your mental wellness, because in this season, you need all of this. You need all of this. And for the mothers, the women who are sitting in that room, it was 4 of us. One lady was on my side and the other 2 who were the loudest was like, nah. And it was intense. We don't get to throw good men out. We don't get to throw broken men out. Just like women have a lot of resources available to them, you've got to realize men don't always have those resources, and we have to provide those resources for them. Successful families. So many do not think to make alternate plans for what happens after death. And at the end, it is the children who feel the additional pressure. You are so right about that. And this child is 4. And I know he felt the pressure. His mother was going through a lot of pain. And I'm not going to get into who it is because I don't want to put their business out there, because that's traumatic in itself. But I just need you guys to know that that's a teaching point. And Dwayne says, it's been a good week. I'm going to put this up here. It's been a good week considering Sunday was day 700 alienated from my son. At church, we were discussing ways to get God's attention. One was praising in the middle of the storm. As I approach the 2-year mark, I choose to praise God that I'm here, alive, still with hope that God will be my vindicator and reunite my son and I one day. I am blessed to still have contact via video chat. Woo! All right, Dwayne, you got me. Something I talked about on Dr. Tori J's page on Facebook earlier in the week, where we have to recognize that even though God hasn't shown up and we can't see him, when we have a promise and we have his word, we have to hold on to that word. And Dwayne is showing us that he's holding on to that word, knowing that one day they're going to be reunited. But I can tell you, he has moments and he has seasons where he is hurting and he is fighting and he is going through. And that becomes a problem that I have even at church, that I said on my live, that church tends to pick sides and they tend to go with the mother. And they leave men and throw them out to the wind. That's a whole nother conversation. And that requires healing concerning men too, because men then walk away from church, and not only church, but God, because they didn't get the support they needed. And churches have a very challenging time with this because many of them have their own fatherless struggles, or they grew up in single parent homes. And that becomes part of the issue. I want you guys to understand that not having access to your children, or children not having access to their father, and I'll even say single moms bearing the load of fathers who don't want to be present, they exist. It is a death. It is a pain. It is grieving at a level that I can't even possibly fathom. I can fathom grieving someone who's alive and having to release them and let them go. I can fathom a lot of things, but I can't imagine my DNA walking around. I don't have children yet. So my DNA walking around and I can't have access to them. I can't imagine that. But I can say that's got to be one of the most painful experiences one will ever feel. And I can, as a fatherless child growing up, before I reunited with my father as a 31-year-old woman, I always wondered where he was. I always wondered where he was. I didn't know what his name was. I didn't know what he looked like, but I always wondered those things. And in some ways, that's kind of grieving the same thing that I'm talking about. But in other ways, it's not, because I didn't know him. I didn't have a relationship with him. I had no clue as to who he was. And Dwayne is even saying here, every day is a struggle. Every day is a struggle, especially when you are wanting to be present as a father. It's a struggle. Every day is a struggle when you're wanting to have your father available to you and you don't know why he's not present. Every single day is a struggle. And how do you get through that struggle? You make it through that struggle by simply, and I'm saying simply because it's harder. It's harder than it appears to be, and it's harder than actually stepping into it. You go through this struggle every single day simply by taking it day by day. There's no, oh, I'm just going to make it and thinking about tomorrow. The scripture says, take no thought for tomorrow. Part of that eliminates anxiety, right? Part of that eliminates, pressure. Anxiety is always worried about the future. What's next? Why? What's going to happen? That's anxiety. Depression, they say, is about the past, right? So we're dealing with anxiety here, but it's simply taking each day at a time. I'm in a season where I've got to take each day at a time. Today, I had to do some inner healing work, as I said, when I first got on here. I have amazing coaches surrounding me right now. And let's talk about teams again. I keep telling you guys, get your teams. It will help you in this season to show up better. COVID is wreaking havoc on all of us, and watching pictures and seeing pictures of individuals be whipped with whether it was whips, whether it was reins, whatever it was. And COVID and all of these other things are wreaking havoc on our soul, our mind, our will, and our emotions. And in the midst of that, you guys don't have the proper people surrounding you, covering you, keeping you in this season. Yep, I still got my personal trainer. Lost a lot of weight. Very excited. Very excited. Do I like going to the gym? No. Do I enjoy the results and how I feel afterwards? Yes, because it makes me feel better. It changes my mood. It's like releasing all these endorphins and things. And so it makes me better. Even when I leave, and I can break through a brick wall when I leave the gym, because they have me doing stuff that's crazy. Last week we did Thursday or Friday, I believe it was, we did squats with the TRX bands on our tippy toes. I was so proud. I posted that video on Instagram and Facebook. I was so proud. It burned my calves like crazy, but you know what? It made me feel like I could break through a brick wall. Some of you don't even have the coping mechanisms, the things to manage your stress, your anxiety, your depression. You don't even have those things in place, so that when you're dealing with your father wound or even your mother wound, but I'm fatherless generation, so we're going to stick to that. When you're dealing with your father wound, you don't have the things in place to do that. I have my personal trainer. I've changed personal trainers in the last, 4 months, which works better for me because it's group training at that. And so I have those things in place that is causing me to be who I need to be. So I have a personal trainer. I have my OBGYN. I have my my regular doctor, my practitioner. I have my business coach. I have my business development coach now. I have my money coach now. How about that? Dealing with money trauma. I don't even know. I can't even teach that yet, but there's some things I need to talk to you guys about that I've learned in the last few weeks. I have been engulfed in inner healing for like 4 weeks. And it's been a lot, and it's been a toll, But that's the stuff I'm working on. I hired Eric Thomas now as my one of my business coaches. I have 3 business coaches. We are growing in the next few months, and I have pulled everything back. New website coming in the next week. I've pulled everything back and put a halt to things. COVID is pausing things in a way that I don't want to get myself in a situation where I'm taking on all these clients and I can't actually help you reunite through a court system with attorneys when there's so much going on. So I've pulled that part back, and we're putting ourselves in a position where we can have proper portals and, just protocols in helping launch the peer groups back up, because boys and girls clubs, yeah, they're around, but they're working at limited capacity, all of these things. So I'm pulling back on that, but I'm working with coaches who are helping me develop the next level of systems. We are actually going to be launching in Africa. That is a whole nother conversation. I am waiting for the final word on my last city. And as soon as I know that, I will share that information with you guys. But it's an amazing ride, and it's an amazing journey. But even purpose has its journey where you've got to have healing, and you've got to have the proper people in place. I also have, my therapists. I have mental health coaches. I just joined. I've been doing this devotional, and I'm sharing this with you guys because it's Healing Tuesday, and I need you to put things in place to help you heal. Marshawn Evans Daniels, she has been someone that I've watched from afar and mentor. And so she just launched 100 Days Believing Bigger, an actual consortium. And so I joined that, where we're all as a group, as a community, doing this together. And I just started it. Well, I started about a month ago, but I'm only on day 14 because it's a lot to take in. You've got to put the things around you that are going to help you heal, because fatherlessness is not a one-trick pony. Broken up from fatherlessness that's not a one-trick pony. And this person, Successful Family, says, and no, God brings healing. Yes, he does. We only raise children for 18 years, but the adults they become is a lifetime. They deserve to know their parents based in their own experience. Keep the faith. That's very true. That is so true. And for those who are walking through these healing moments, you've got to have the right things surrounding you in order to heal. But many of you don't, and wonder why you start and stop healing, start and stop. And in some ways that's okay, but in other ways it's detrimental. And you've got to figure out, how is that serving you? As Dr. Phil would say, how's that working out for you? My healing is going to be constant. Yeah, there's moments where I slow down. There's moments where I sit back and assess. And if you look at my Instagram today, I sat on the beach until it rained, and I was doing some inner healing work. Because just like Dwayne, there's moments of grief and there's moments of sadness, but God is still my center. I will never allow the storm to overtake me. I'm never going to allow darkness to overcome the light that shines from within me. I'm never going to do it. But that doesn't mean that I don't meet people who do. And it's my job to pull you out of the darkness and exude light into your life as you are going through these traumas and these situations. Because fatherlessness is a mental health issue, and it causes one. Take that in. Fatherlessness is a mental health issue, and it causes one. Fatherlessness is a generational trauma. And many of you are walking through this life, walking through this journey, insinuating as if you're just fine, even though you didn't have your father present. And you're thinking, oh, well, I'm glad I didn't have him present because he was crazy and he was this and he was that. Yeah, but you come from that. Don't you want to know how they got there? People aren't born crazy. You know that, right? They're not born crazy. Things happen to them. And you better bet your bottom dollar, as they say, that if something is constantly happening to you, then it probably happened to other people in your family, people that you may not even know. And it is to your benefit to find a way to reunite with an absent father. Your DNA is more like your father's than your mother's, whether you know it or not. That is truth. That is biological, scientific. We're in the season where it's like, follow the science on that. Your DNA is more like your father's than your mother's. That is factual. Plug. Go to my website and you can get it's just an ebook. I ain't even trying to be complicated. It's 23 pages or so, 23 pages, I think, of why you should reunite with your absent father. Because most of us go, well, we shouldn't. Why should I do that? And I think that book's like $7. It's an ebook. What am I charging you a lot of money for? I want you to get the information. I want you to have it readily available. I need you to know that some dads are waiting for you to come reunite with them. They don't know what to say. I know this is Healing Tuesday, and Healing Tuesday tonight is different because I'm like, let's talk about it. Tonight is not a specific conversation. It's not a specific series. It's like, let's talk about whatever is on our hearts. And I'm trying to address some of the things I see come down my timeline here and my comments here. I'm trying to give you pointers and tips. Oh, Cherie, thank you. She said, you are amazing. Well, thank you. I don't always feel amazing. I don't always feel, but see, that was part of my release earlier. I'm giving you tips and tools that you can use to battle through and overcome the challenges that you're dealing with, the trauma, the pain, the toxic relationships that you're in, and how to stand up and be yourself and access the most vulnerable, most authentic part of yourself. That's the season we're in. That's the season we're in. We're in a season where you have to have faith and God has to be the center of it. As Dwayne was talking about, he is going on 2 years of not having his son in his life, or his children, I want to say, in his life. His son. 2 years? Have you counted how many days, how many hours that is to not have access to your children and the pain that causes? That's intense. That's truly intense. And it's heartbreaking. And it causes a lot of side effects and a lot of things to happen on the inside of a person. But I'm here to tell you, there are tools to make it through. Dwayne he ain't perfect, and he's a human being, but he's choosing, as he said, to praise God, that he's here and he's alive, and he still has hope that God will be his vindicator and reunite with him with his son. And he even put here, he said, I'm gonna put yours up. He said, so many tears. Yeah. It doesn't, and this is like popcorn conversation tonight. Can I talk to you and tell you, having tears, feeling hurt and broken doesn't mean that you lack faith that God is going to move. Sorry. Having tears does not mean that you lack faith in God. It means that you are human. And you're not trying to fake the funk. You ain't faking it till you make it. Cherie said, trick of the enemy, ain't nobody mad but the devil and his team bumped them. We focused. You stupid. But this is where we are. John says, I know it has been discussed. It is a constant for me lately. It's okay to feel the emotions. We have to ensure we don't allow them to trigger us, and that we deal with them in a healthy way. Absolutely. And John, when you don't deal with them in a healthy way, it's called being human. You reel it back in. You reel it back in. I've gotten on the bus. Child had a whole cuss out session. Ain't nobody here. I can't believe they did that. And you have literally, the enemy has dragged you into a conversation and ain't nobody even in the room. Your father's not there, but you going off on why wasn't he there? Why didn't he love me? Am I not lovable? And am I not enough? And you have literally jumped on the bus and having a whole dialogue about why you weren't enough and why did this person leave and then this person did this. And before you know it, you're in a horrible state and you don't even know how you got there. I'm gonna tell you how you got there. You got on the bus with the negative self-talk. But it's okay. You can easily get off the bus. You had that moment. Move on. Thank you. She said, uplift. Not only uplift me, uplift, because these men are fighting a crazy fight. But I will tell you, as Dwayne says, tears are another thing that gets God's attention. When I tell you, don't let Bear with me for a second. Don't let those in pulpits deceive you into thinking if you have emotions, if you have tears, if you have some level of fear, right? If you doubt, if you have struggles, that God isn't gonna still move. There's something I've been praying in the midst of those moments of doubt. And it's scripture, and it says, God, help my unbelief. See, Dwayne has a word from God, and many of you do too as well. You have a word from God concerning your father being absent, your children being absent. You have a word from God, but everything points in a different direction. Everything looks contrary. And that's your sign that God's promise is about to manifest. Can I help you there? That's your sign to hold on. When everything looks contrary, that's your sign. When all hell continues to break loose, continue to break through. Continue to press through and press in. Fatherlessness is very much so grieving a person who's alive. How do you manage through that? As a child, number one, you're surviving. You're living through trauma and surviving trauma. You're learning survival techniques in that moment, which is detrimental to your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions. Hi, Denise. See, this is what happens when you jump on Instagram, because I'm not on Instagram really doing anything. I don't even post because I have so much going on. Thank you, Denise. We got to talk soon. But it's impacting, and it's causing you to operate out of survival mode. And so then you learn to live in survival mode. And even when you're an adult, that's the place you stay, and that's the place you reside, right? And as a kid, you learn, keeping it real, that men aren't necessary, even when you are a man. I want to say I shared this with you guys, but since I have more people on, and I've got Instagram on, here in South Florida, I've partnered with the YMCA, and one of our partnerships is building this beautiful, like they're building all these new YMCAs all over South Florida. And they're building a new building in the Sistruct area. It's a historic Black neighborhood. And we did an event, backpacks and all these things. And so we're introducing this to a new audience so that we can get more kids to come in. And this is really my first partnership with the Y. I've done boys and girls clubs all over the country. We're there. Kids are asking questions about who we are. I'm introducing it. One mother says, yeah, my son doesn't, his dad doesn't call him. Little boy was about 15. And he said, yeah, that's because you hate men. And mind you, we're in a tent. There are other people around. The little boy didn't say, you hate my dad. He said, you hate men. You hate men. We're teaching young boys to hate themselves. We're teaching them self-hatred. We're teaching them, as they're surviving, to hate themselves. And then mothers are raising boys to be the kind of men they would date, they would want to be with, not knowing that that's not, in most cases, that's not real. It's not. And this little boy had no problem saying that. And I began to wonder what it was like for him growing up in a home where he knew his mother hated men. Do you find yourself stuck in arrested development because if you grow up, she'll begin to hate you too? Do you find yourself making sure that by the time you become a man, you get out of her house so that you don't have to deal with the hatred? I began to ask myself all of those questions. Now, when he comes to my program, when we launch it, the building's supposed to be done sometime in October, so we'll launch in January. I really want to know. I really am going to find out where he's at with this. I am, because it broke my heart. These are the things we're teaching children, and we're teaching young girls to hate men. We're teaching young girls that men aren't necessary. Be strong, be resilient, be powerful, be independent. Do you know independence is keeping a lot of Black women single? But what you say is, he don't like me because I'm independent, because I got this and I got my own. That ain't, yeah, he don't like you because you're independent. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Because interdependence is what helps a relationship grow and thrive and be successful, not independence. That's not how that works. And so when women, especially Black women, say and I'm using the vernacular on purpose, he don't like me because I'm independent. Yeah, you're right. Because that's not how you thrive. That's not how you win. Independence is selfish. I want to be intertwined with my mate. I want to be interdependent upon each other and not codependent. And there's a boundary in that. There's a way that you got to move and interdependent so that you're not codependent. But in marriage is this place of another conversation. Let me stay on task. But we're teaching our children unhealthy behaviors, unhealthy patterns, generational curses are being passed down continuously because fatherlessness is a mental health issue and it creates one. And so Healing Tuesday is all about getting you to that place where you recognize that you need to acknowledge the pain that you've gone through. You need to acknowledge that your mother couldn't do it all on her own. You need to acknowledge that your mama might have lied to you about who your father actually was, because in truth, who a man is to a woman as a husband or a boyfriend is very different to who he is to his children as a father. And so to isolate him because he has hurt you, and then to continue to repeat cycles out of pain and trauma, is just passing it down to the next generation. It's just constantly passing it down. And then what we do as fatherless children, we then throw ourselves in our career and into purpose, and we become performance-based, believing that because we are successful, it demonstrates that not having my father didn't have any scars, it didn't have anything on me. Do you know overachieving is an issue that literally shines the brightest light and the mirror on you, saying you got a daddy issue and I was an overachiever? You don't even need to know the degrees I got. And even in being an overachiever, I always feel like I got to do more. I got to get more. That's not enough. But that's the stuff I released today. Once again, my coaches made me do some hard work today. We have to be honest. Just because you got a good job and make a lot of money, girlfriend, does not mean you don't have emotional and mental issues. Proof. And do not let people convince you that there's not enough men to exist, because men are struggling finding quality women just as much as women are struggling finding quality men. And guess why that is? Because we're sitting here in a tug of war of truth concerning our fatherless journey. And even having a father in the home who's emotionally distant and absent still constitutes as fatherlessness. And so many will ignore the fact that they're fatherless simply because they know who he is and he exists. Thank you, Rosa. Hey, Dane, I see you on here. He said over here speaking truth again. Yes, I will never stop. It is my business and it is my job. Dr. Daisy says, so true. Teach people they must recognize what is the real truth. They need to really listen to what you're saying and hear with their heart, because that's where you're coming from. I am coming from my heart, because I can look around at society. I can look around at our world, and many of you don't do that because it's not your lane. It's not your anointing. But I can see where fatherlessness is playing out in every single sector of our society. I can see it. We go to the movies and I'd be like, oh my God, it's fatherlessness. The Joker, I think, was the last one I saw where I did that, because I ain't been to the movies per se in a while with COVID. But my husband was looking at me like, are you really going to work at the movie theater? No, I'm not working, but I can see it. It manifests everywhere. Remember the Joker, the last one? Remember he was standing outside the gate looking at the little boy playing with the ball because his mother lied and told him that was his father, and that wasn't even his father. Whew, Jesus. Child, you know how many cases I have where I can't find the dad? because mom's lying about the name of the dad. I have one case where a lady gave me 10 names, I think it was. And we've searched all of these names and we've gone through, and most of the men are like, nah, I'm not the dad. Some people have done DNA tests and, well, maybe they tricked him. Maybe they did something. No, he's not the dad, because mom is lying about the name of the dad because she didn't have a dad. And so she doesn't think it's necessary. She don't think it's necessary. She's like, why do you need this anyway? Another young lady, her mother's like, this woman, I think, is 50 something. And her mother is like, yeah, nah. I don't even remember his name. What? Possible. But were you on drugs? No. Okay. Got questions, right? This is what we're requiring children to live through, and then wondering why they're struggling emotionally, wondering why as adults they can't have great relationships, wondering why there's challenges that exist. And I have moms post on my page all the time, my children are doing just fine. Are they? Ask their spouses. You don't live with them anymore. You don't know their day to day. And as a wife, you cover your husband. So most times you're not even going to share that with their mama. Mothers, their wives are covering them. And so they're not going to tell you all the details of what is going on with your son or your daughter. They're working through it. Dwayne said, I thought the same thing when I saw the Joker. Absolutely. If you grew up fatherless and you have not conquered that pain, then you, trust me, is visiting you. And it may not be in your face all the time, but it's visiting you. I want to read something that a friend of mine, Dr. Tart, put up the other day. And this conversation is happening often now, which I'm loving. Lets me know I'm in the right space in the right season. He said, ladies, if you're dating a man who has unresolved pain and trauma, especially due to his mother, and he has chosen not to seek therapy and God to heal it, you are dating a problem, and it is unlikely to work. You are not a social work lover. Ask him to heal first and love you second. That goes for women too. If you're dating a woman who hasn't done the work of healing her fatherless trauma, or even walking into that process and getting some of that stuff out of the way, you're dating a problem, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work, because the things that we've been taught as individuals growing up through our childhood, the demonstrations and the illustrations that many of us who are in the Black community have experienced, children out of wedlock. Do you know that marriage is the open, like it's the, how do I put this? Marriage is literally the purpose for family. And nobody asked for someone to be a perfect father, but marriage is the purpose for family. I've heard it over and over and over again. I want to make sure, where's my battery on my phone? I've heard it over and over and over again, but we keep saying we're not getting married. Oh, y'all keep listening to Nick Cannon. Sorry. I'm sorry I have to do this while we're on here. Y'all keep listening to Nick Cannon talking about you can have 4, 5 wives or whatever, or baby mamas or whatever that is. That we're not in a monogamous society, that we're supposed to have multiples. That's cool if you can take care of multiples. Can you take care of all of those women and children? Do you have the finances to do that, gentlemen? If we're going to go biblical, we're going to have that conversation. But what's happening is we're creating children who don't have access to a father the way that they're supposed to have access to their father. And so they have pain associated with that, deep-rooted pain. There was another little boy at that same event I mentioned a moment ago. He was probably 11-ish. And he said he hated his father. At 11, you're carrying hate. At 11. What do you think that turns into? Hate for a father? Well, why do you hate your father, young man? Because he left my mother. Exactly how he said it to me. How does he know these details, mama? And I'll ride them in a little bit tonight. Leaving a relationship does not mean that you get to negate your responsibility of the children. I can recognize that there are excuses and there are reasons. But I need you to press through all of it because your children need you. Your children need you. They need you to become the productive adults they're called to be. They need you so they don't lean to one side over another. Because when you're raised in a single parent home and you have no access to your father or a demonstration of a father, I'll even give you the surrogate. The surrogate only goes so far. The surrogate and the coach and the stepfather, no offense to you, but you only go so far. There is still going to require some healing work within those children when they become adults because DNA matters. Who I come from and where I come from matters. And if you don't think so, you are fooling yourself and living in a whole world of denial. There's only so much those people can do. And I'm grateful for the mentors. I'm grateful for the surrogate fathers that I had in my life who spoke into my life. I'm grateful for the men who stood up and said, we're gonna have her around us so that she can see what it looks like to be in a family. I don't think they did that intentionally per se. Maybe they did. But it benefited me to be immersed. See, some of you aren't even immersed into two-parent homes or households and know what it looks like. And so you're trying to replicate and duplicate something that you don't think is valuable, number one, and you've never seen it, number two. You've never seen it. And then you get raggedy, trifling. I got multiple words, but I'm going to keep it to myself. You get this horrible advice from your bitter mamas on who you should date. And then ladies, you're like, oh, I need to see how he treats his mother. Child, they performance-based too. No, how he treats his mother is not a demonstration as to how he's going to treat you. Sorry. It is not. Because they could be pretending or performing, or let me say this. Some men don't even know they hate their mothers, but you can see it in how they treat the women in their lives. That's the demonstration. They could very well take care of their moms, love their moms, kiss their moms, talk to their moms every day, but yet then they treat the women in their lives like crap, like it's a thing. It's because subconsciously they got an issue with their mother that they don't even know how to address. How do you want them to get rid of the woman who, or to address the woman who stayed? That's called a loyalty bond and enmeshment. You want them to get rid of that person? Hey, Damon, how are you? You want them to get rid of that person? But then, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm going to say ladies and gentlemen, you guys are taking relationship advice from bitter mothers who couldn't even keep a relationship or get a relationship of their own. So this is where we become the one who now carries on the cycle. But we write on our wall and we wear the t-shirt, I'm a curse breaker. I'm a generational curse breaker. Are you? We'll get a t-shirt made that says you're repeating the cycle. See how many people buy it. I don't think it'll be a good seller. And I don't mean this in a mean way. I mean this in an authentic and honest way. I don't have children because I refuse to have children out of wedlock. So I lived my life a certain way. And then I got married. And then there's other things that go on in the midst of that you weren't prepared for. But I refused. My room was next to my mother's room. And I will not act like I didn't hear her crying at night. That I won't do. Some people say, well, Tori, that's living in fear. No, that's not living in fear. That is the truth, because too many single mothers in a real conversation in a safe place will tell you that this thing is breaking them down, it's killing them, and it's taking them out. But they got to do what they got to do. And they're doing the best that they can do with what they have. Healing Tuesday is going to attack these things, and it's going to talk to you about these things. And we have for 2 years. We've talked about everything from toxic mothers to sexual assault to why our mothers didn't respond to the sexual assault the way that they needed to or we needed them to, simply because we had to have the epiphany and the aha moment going, Oh, they had a situation of their own that they haven't even dealt with. And here we show up with our situation. Here we are as individuals, and we've talked about it all on here. And I'm going to stay on here until we don't talk about it all. And Healing Tuesday was created around my husband. It really was. And even as we're going through the journey that we're going through in this season, it was hard for a few months for me to even get on here and do this, knowing that it was centered around him, knowing that this was started because when I first got on some live, I don't remember what it was, but my husband said he didn't know he was fatherless until he married me at 42, 43 years old. And you're wondering, how did you not know that? You know, you ain't had no relationship with your daddy that you wanted. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I think you did. I think you wanted it. I think you still want it. And I think it's part of the reason why we're in the situation we're in right now. Because how do you acknowledge that you wanted that relationship with your father and that just maybe, everything wasn't what it was said to be? And so this started as a way to speak to my husband, but to also speak to those who needed the same things. And we've now been on here for almost a little over 2 years. So there's plenty of content for those of you who are joining on LinkedIn. I'm so happy that LinkedIn gave me the yes. At first they said, no, you can't live broadcast. And then days later, they gave me the yes, which was so exciting. And so I'm loving having business people on here, or people who don't necessarily get to see me on Instagram or Facebook, but they're on Instagram more and they can see me have these conversations. Go to YouTube. There's 2 years worth of information and content on there that we would love for you to just look at and give your input and tell us what you think about it. Because I'm going to tell you, sorry, because I'm almost supposed to be off of here. I'm going to tell you that even part of the reasons why your businesses and your careers aren't going in the path that you desire them to go in is because you're dealing with this inner healing piece, all surrounding your father. Many of us can't go there. It was like, I got a college degree. I bought a house. I did it. I get it. But there's still a next level. And there's an access that you've got to obtain. And you've got to deal with that part. And even to go to the next level. And many of us, well, thank you, Rosa. I'm glad you're here. Many of us are not equipped because fatherlessness has been normalized. It's been so normalized. If you say that you had a problem that you didn't have your father, people are looking at you like you're crazy. And many will tell you from the alienated world, when they reunite with their fathers, they lose their mother and their other siblings in their family. And I can vouch for you and tell you that that's my journey. It wasn't what I thought. I thought I was going to have one big happy family. That didn't happen. And that's white and Black people. You lose your other family because they're upset and resentful and they got attitude and they got an issue that you have now connected with this other side of your family. That's been a painful work in itself. But I do the work because I'm not going to stay stuck for long. You hear me what I said? For long. I get stuck. I have dark moments. I have challenges. But we have to look at ourselves in order to be who we're called to be, in order to be the people that we're supposed to be in God, in business, in life. Your next level is predicated on you doing this work right here. I promise you. And it doesn't stop until it stops. I know it's daunting. I know it's scary. I know you're like, well, what am I going to get? What am I going to feel? What am I going to, because it feels really bad. I'm gonna end with this part, and then I'm gonna give you guys some of the things that we're about to do. I'm gonna give you some updates and some announcements. I'm a minister. I'm a lot of other things too. And I want to tell you that I know and I see what God is doing in this season. And part of the thing that God is doing in this season is He is taking you back into a very difficult time. Some of us that are watching are right now experiencing the exact same journey we've experienced before. That was one of the most traumatic seasons of our lives. Raise your hand if it's the truth. You can raise your hand and shame the devil. You can give me some hearts and shame the devil. I'm okay with that. Hearts, raise your hand, however you want to do it. Hearts is more, ain't nobody got to know. Well, thank you, Kurt. He said, damn, you're good. Because I know, because that's what you're going through. You're walking through a situation that was just like the one 5, 10, 20 years ago. And you are panicked. Let me tell you what God showed me. And I know it's not just for me. God is with you, and he's walking you through it this time so that you'll get a different result. I know it feels like it's the same, but it won't be. It's not going to be the same. So walk through it, but walk through it knowing that he's with you and always accessing him, causing him to just always putting him into the situation, always letting him know where you are, journaling. I got like 3 or 4 journals going on at the same time right now. The work is intense right now. But as you walk through this journey, the result will be different. Why? Because that's where your healing is about to come from. When the result is different than the last time, your healing will come from that moment. And in the world of neuroscience, they say that it sets up your brain. Now it's different. Now it sets it up different. It rewires it in a different way. And you don't even remember the initial trauma. Because this moment will heal that space. So don't stop in panic. Don't stop in fear. Keep walking. I told you earlier, for those of you who are watching this and jumped in later, go back and watch it in replay. I told you about the team that I have surrounding me. Everyone from personal trainer, I have business coaches, I have a money coach right now dealing with money trauma. I need to tell y'all about that, but I don't know how to even have that conversation about what I learned about my initial money trauma. I have my OBGYN, my primary care physician. I have 5 women who are covering me right now, who've all been married. They've been married 30 plus years. One is literally celebrating her 30th wedding anniversary today. Because too many of you single women, or some of you married women, rely on single folks to tell you how you're supposed to be walking out journeys that ain't got, like, they don't know nothing about. They ain't walked through them. They don't know nothing about them. All of these women have walked through me, upheld me, kept my arms high when I wanted to hang my head and hang my arms low through this moment. There's a team that is necessary to carry you through the healing that you're currently walking in. Hey, Johnny, Dr. Johnny Hill. There's a team necessary. But if you choose to do this in isolation, you will not get a different result. If you choose to do this solo, because you can't trust nobody, you're going to get the same result. But I know what season you're in. And I'm telling you right now, you'll get a different result because God is doing something new, but he's healing his people of pain and trauma. Speaking of healing of pain and trauma, okay, so that's those of you who know, I come on Healing Tuesdays every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I come on, we typically do a series, but tonight was more just kind of general conversation about, let's talk, where are we? Like we talked about grief early on, grieving someone who's alive. I'm dealing with all of those issues. Like, it's a real thing. Those of you who don't know, who are joining me from Instagram, who don't know who I am, I actually run an amazing foundation headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. We are incorporated in 7 different cities and in 7 different states, clearly. And, well, now that's not clearly because it could be in the same state, in 7 different states. And we have reunited over 8,300 fatherless children with over, I think it's 3,200 fathers throughout the last 12, 13 years that I've been in business. We didn't start that until about year 6 or 7. I didn't know what I was doing at first. I was really working with the kids, but the kids wanted their dads. And so I have become a reunification expert and a healer in the space of fatherlessness. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach. And so when we're talking about healing, starting next Tuesday, on the 28th, I will not do this in place of Healing Tuesday. I am not in Iowa now, Kurt. That's something I'm not. I'm not in Iowa. But starting with starting with next Tuesday, and it will start during the day. So you got to join the I've Got Daddy Issues group on Facebook, even to join this. So those who are on Instagram, those who are on whether it's YouTube or LinkedIn, you've got to go to the Fatherless Generation Foundation page on Facebook. Join the I've Got Daddy Issues group. In that group, I'm going to do a 3-day challenge, a free 3-day challenge called Healing Your Fatherless Story. I'm going to take you through issues of identifying your father wound. I'm going to take you through the trauma responses and triggers that you've had concerning that father wound. And then we're going to do some work on cognitive dissociation, and we're going to redeem your story. We're going to redeem your story. Many of you are playing the same story over and over and over again in your mind, and you cannot get out of the trauma of your fatherless journey. Some of you think you have, but you have not. You dream about it, you think about it, in your subconscious, is playing out in your day-to-day life. And so I'm going to help you redeem your fatherless story. We're going to do a 3-day challenge. It is starting next Tuesday. It will not, like I said, it will not be in place of Healing Tuesday, but I will start it next Tuesday. Join I've Got Daddy Issues group on Facebook. It doesn't cost you anything. I'm not trying to make you pay for anything concerning that. I will tell you, though, I am also putting together, where's my other cards? There it is. I am putting together a retreat called I've Got Daddy Issues Retreat. It is March 2022 that I'm doing this. It is going to be an amazing journey. You have a 5-day retreat or a 3-day retreat. That's up to you on what you can afford. That website will go up in about 2 or 3 weeks. In that website going up, there is an installment plan. Some of you've got to know this is a huge investment. I am not coming with just, we're just going to sit around and talk. No, I'm bringing heavy hitters to this conversation, and heavy hitters are going to cost me. And so you're going to get the work. You're not going to leave there the same. 5-day, you definitely are. And I'm going to make sure that those who come for the 3-day, you're going to be able to maximize every bit of those 3 days. I am doing it in Sedona, Arizona, one of the places where I found my healing earlier this year and reconnected with God in a way that I hadn't been in a while. I had been struggling through some things in my marriage, and it really had broken me to a point where I was just questioning a lot of things. And Sedona, Arizona is where there's so much healing there. And I know it's some weird stuff going on there, but God told me while I was there, because there's a lot of other stuff that's there. And some people don't go because they're like, well, it's this and that, and I'm Christian, and I'm Islam, and I'm Muslim, and I'm this. And God told me, he said, do not surrender what belongs to me to people who don't. That was the word he gave me when we were up on that mountain. Do not surrender that what belongs to God to people who don't. And so Sedona, Arizona, we're going to go take that place. I already have the rooms blocked. This is when I tell you, when the website goes up, it's an investment. You can pay in installments, but when it goes up, it's only a slot for 50 people, period. Kirk said, what place isn't weird anymore? I don't know. Sedona is amazing. They have these energy vortexes. And so let me tell you some of the people who I'm bringing to the table. I'm not going to tell you their names, but I have an affirmations coach. I have a relationship coach. I have a sexologist who's coming. I have a gentleman who has amazing books, amazing following surrounding relationships that are from broken lifestyles. I'll say it that way, or broken upbringing. So he's really good at that. Myself will be present. Those are just some of the people. Then I know and I understand that you have to find ways of coping, right? And many of you don't do that in a healthy way. So I have my fitness coach is coming. Yep, mine. Tia is going to come. She's going to be a part of this. She's going to be there all 5 days. And then I have an amazing African dance coach coming. We gonna men, yes. Dancing releases certain things, right? I'm going to teach you some stuff that's going to help you through this journey. And then we also, I am bringing in half of the team of a mental health gym that is in Detroit, Michigan. And what they do is they teach you and they give you tools on how to release the trauma that's locked up in your joints and locked up in your body. I'm coming with it all, right? You're going to be able to hike. You're going to be able to, that's March 2022. March 2022. It's at the end of the month. I think the dates are What did we say the dates were? I can't even remember. And let me say this also. When you pay for what you're paying for, it includes everything but your flight. Can I just sign already? Kirk said, I love it. And it's a man. Can we give it up? He's like, can I sign already? Kirk, not yet. I got to get the website up. Please give me 1 second. And so that includes everything but your flight. That's your room. That's your food. That's your conference, right? There's VIP and then there's general. So just know, and I'm excited that a man is like, can I be the first to sign up? The Fatherless let me say this as well. The Fatherless Generation Foundation is still doing amazing work. We're still moving in healing, and reunification, doing more mediation these days, doing a lot of coaching. If those of you who have heard me tonight and you're like, I need some work, I need some help before the retreat, go to beyondfatherless.com. You can sign up for a 30-minute free assessment, and we break down like, where can I help you? If I can help you, if I'm not the person for you, I'm gonna be honest and tell you that. But there are packages there that you can sign up, whether it's monthly, whether it's a particular package that you want to sign up for. There's things that you want to work through. That's going to cost you. That's not as much of an investment as the retreat, because it's I don't want to say it's just me, but it's over a longer period of time. Okay. And so you can go to beyondfatherless.com. I'll put it on here for those. This is the other stuff that my coaches are like, girl, you don't promote yourself enough. So that's why you guys are hearing me do this more. For those of you who love what I do and the work that I do, donations are totally accepted. And let me say this, many of you don't even know that we have our own awareness ribbon. Like, you know how cancer has an awareness ribbon. Everybody has an awareness ribbon. We do too. We have an amazing awareness ribbon. See that? Because that's what fatherlessness feels like. It's got all these different symbols, and this is a piece of artwork from a fatherless son. He's an amazing artist. He gave us the ability to use his artwork and craft our awareness ribbon. For $25 donation or more, you get that awareness ribbon. Yep. And so those are the things that I have going on. I have a big announcement coming. I got a big announcement coming, but I'm going to wait to give it to you. I'll wait to give it to you. But give me a moment, and I got to lock in one more city, and I'll be able to give you guys some announcements about Africa. I know I have people on here who watch me who are from Africa, who are from South Africa, who are from Lagos, Nigeria. I have people who are connected in that way. He said, oh, I'm a tease. I am a tease. And so know that there is something very awesome coming your way. And I am super excited about being able to bring it to you. So just give me I was supposed to have a meeting last Monday, but they were really, really busy. And so I'm waiting for one last city to lock it in, and then I'll be able to lock it and share it. Right. So just give me 1 second and I'll be able to do that. But that's the stuff that I'm working on. So once again, donate to the Fatherless Generation Foundation. We are doing exactly what it is we say we're doing. And we've been doing it off 5, 10s, and 20s. We don't get large grants and donations. We don't get those things at this point. I'm learning a lot in that space, and I will continue to press towards us getting those things. And I am currently rebuilding my board so that they can help in that process as well. So I'm going to get off of here. It is 10:09. I have gone over my time, but I pray that you guys have an amazing week. And just remember, go to the Fatherless Generation Foundation page on Facebook, join the I've Got Daddy Issues group. And in joining that group, we're going to do some real work starting next Tuesday. And it's only going to take 3 days. I kept asking, why 3 days, God? Because he was like, because I raised even Jesus from the dead in 3 days. Boom. I was like, oh, okay. So we're going to be able to do some heavy lifting and some true work in 3 days. All right. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Have an amazing evening. And thank you, LinkedIn, for allowing me to do live broadcasts. So now I'm on LinkedIn too. All right. You guys have an amazing night. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Bye, Instagram.